facilities engineering, essentially. And then I entered the energy field when gas was $1.25 a gallon. Home heating oil was 39 cents. Electricity prices were on the incline at the time. And I went to work for National Electric Co-op, which seems kind of like a bad time to go into energy, but 15 years later it turned out to be a good move. So, GBS is an energy consulting company. We have about 180 people headquartered out of Marietta, Georgia. We have an office in Manchester, New Hampshire with 20 people. We've hired 2 people directly out of this program in the past 3 years. Business is good. We don't have the openings right now, but just keep an eye out. You never know. Joe Rondo and Ryan Finney both came out of this program that will work for us. So today I'm just going to talk about commercial building energy audits. Commercial building, you guys know what a commercial building is or what it isn't? Yeah. A school, an office building, police station, town hall, anything that's business related, however, not manufacturing. Industrial is a different animal. So any manufacturing plant's completely different thing. We're not going to go over that today. So anyways, I have a bunch of slides. I really don't want to go over them. I'd rather have you guys talk about your projects. Can you guys introduce yourselves? Do you want to start with you? Yeah. And do you guys have a project assigned to you? Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about your
Yeah. I actually at the City Hall, which is just supposed to get I got my building learning how to do an audit.
Good. City Hall being for the county? Yeah. How about you, bud? Kenzie?
Yeah.
Belknap Mill. Is it a old mill?
Matt, and I got Hillsborough County University.
Got Hillsborough County University. Belmont Elementary. So Matt, Kenzie, Taylor. Okay, good. Please let's make this interactive instead of just be blabbing away. This is a typical process that I have up here. We pre-audit, which is sort of what Taylor was talking about. It's got the energy bills. That's usually the first thing we do. We want to look at the energy bills to help us define how out of whack that particular building may be or may not be. Maybe perfectly normal or below energy use. So what we want to look at when we look at the utility bills, we usually use Portfolio Manager. I know Wes said that you guys have been introduced to that. So we usually take utility bills, put it into Portfolio Manager, and get an EUI or energy use intensity or index, and that tells us where that building ranks relative to other buildings with similar uses in the same region. Portfolio Manager actually is regional specific. So if you were to take a building from Southern California and compare it to a building in Billings, Montana, there'd be quite a bit of difference in heating load for one and cooling load for the other. So that software takes that into consideration. But it looks at other rankings. Right.
And EUI is
energy use intensity or index. I think it's index in Portfolio Manager.
And that's BTUs per square foot.
It's usually kBTUs per square foot. Usually.
Thousands.
Yeah, usually.
The reason I ask that is because that's really one of the first things you want to find out about your building.
You know what? Why don't we pull it up? Mine?
No.
So it is energy use intensity.
And it is in thousands.
It's in BT. kBTUs. kBTUs per square foot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to point
So,
that out.
so your number should be like between 25 and 100, basically. If you're over 100, it's probably not very good. You know, if you're in the 200-300s, there's a serious issue with that building, meaning there definitely could be some potential for failure. That's the pre-audit activities. Basically, we try to get a feel for how efficient the building is before we walk in, so that way we know if we need 5 people or 1 person to go. Because if they're very efficient, you know, you're actually it's a catch-22. If the building's super efficient, it's going to be very hard to find savings. So you may have to dig deeper. So you may need more skill set, more people to go, depending on what the building type is. If there's a ton of opportunity, it may be easy. So you may only need 1 person to say, well, you know, we do this, this, and this. We should be good to go. Depends on the building site. So, but that's what we use the pre-audit for. We want to also, by using the utility bills, getting that information, you're starting to engage with the customer or the end user, and it starts them thinking about stuff. So you ask them for permission or ask them for the bills, or you ask for permission to get the bills from the utility. They start thinking, oh, okay, well, this is going to happen, so maybe I should start thinking about stuff. When you go and meet with them, they're already going to have questions for you, which is, it's a good thing, I think. Then the walkthrough, and I break down these, I think I break down these in more detail. The walkthrough, it's critical to take as many pictures as possible. I don't really take that many notes. I usually take as many pictures as possible. I'll take pictures of nameplate data. I'll take pictures of things that are good, things that are bad. So that way when we document what we've seen, we can say, hey, this is done right, this is done wrong. You know, these are some of the things you can improve on. These are some areas that you've already improved on. It's not all about just trying to pick up the bad. Yeah.
What would you look for when doing a walkthrough?
Well, let's go over that because essentially we want to break down each major energy component and figure out the inputs and outputs, and then you want to, for example, for this classroom, you just want to look at this classroom as one piece of all the classrooms. You want to figure out, okay, how's the energy coming in? And there's air coming in, there's return air going out, there's natural daylighting coming in, there's electricity coming in, power, devices. Any of the inputs not in here, right?
Well, we got a sink back there. So
no, there goes some water, and some cold and hot water going in, and wastewater going out. Those are that's the kind of way I break it down. But you want to look at HVAC, lighting, thermal envelope. Those are the major areas that you're going to want to focus on. Data collection. We have our own customized data collection form that we've developed over time. There's a ton of them available on the web. You can probably find an iPad app or iPhone app that you can use their data collection tool. I'm pretty sure Portfolio Manager has a checklist that you want to go through so you can make sure you get all the information you need so that way you can put it into the tool.
If I may, if you go on the Blackboard site, you'll see the Portfolio Manager folder, and inside that folder is both the checklist and the tool he's talking about. Although both of those are for the old version of Portfolio, and I won't make any. Do you know if any of that? I know that the format is different, but basically there's no difference in the data.
I don't think so.
It didn't seem from the webinar we went through like there was.
Metering. That's a metering. I'll show you guys. Do you guys do any measurement or?
There's an electricity class, and they're doing that.
Okay. So in that electricity class, you guys probably use a meter like this. This is a multimeter. This can give you volts and amps and ohms. Really, we just use volts and amps. There also are data loggers. This is a data logging device that you hook up to electrical using equipment. This is a 3-phase power monitor. It logs over time. You hook up your alligator clips to the voltage and then neutral. You hook up these CTs, current transformers, to get amperage. There's 3 of these, one for each phase. And you log it into you hook it up to your computer, and you launch the logger and tell it how often you want to log information. We usually use every 15 minutes to log what's happening, and then over about a 2-week period. And then we'll pull it out, and we'll determine how often the equipment runs, at what percent load it is, what's the power factor, all that kind of stuff.
And where do you put this? Do you put this on the main end, or do you put it on specific equipment? Or
This would be for a specific end use. You put it on a large motor, or a chiller, or a process, piece of process equipment, that kind of stuff. We have about 5 of these meters. They cost about $5,000 a piece. So they're kind of expensive, but they're powerful tools. We use them all the time. Testing. I don't know what I have there. Anyways, first-hand Q&A. I mentioned earlier when you asked your site contact about your getting the energy bills. That's when in their mind, they're already starting to think, ooh, I wonder about this, I wonder about that. You may want to mention them to just make a little list of things they think about over the next week or two. When you go for your site visit, you want to ask lots of questions. That's when you're going to find out a huge amount of information. You're going to find out more from the people on site, and you're going to find out from the bills, and you're going to find out from the meter. The meter really is just used to confirm what you think is happening, and it's a great tool to have to say, this is what we think, let's prove it, and then it's documented. The question and answers is critical to figure out what's the way the building is operated, or the way that it may be inappropriately operated, or issues they may be having with the building.
What questions in particular?
Well, here's a good one. It's the middle of the summer and you're visiting a building that's has no AC in it. And you need to ask them, hey, do you have any nightstands in winter? Stuff like that, because you're not going to figure that out in the middle of the summer. And they can say, oh yeah, huge nightstand issues. Boom, that immediately means you need to start looking at the shell and say, is there adequate air sealing? Is there adequate attic insulation? Is there airflow movement? What's going on? Why is it like that? You ask comfort issues. Do you have issues with certain areas of the building, or do you know how to operate the system? Are you doing setback? If you come in on a weekend, let's say for an office building, if you come in on a weekend and is it setback? Is it cool? Is it warm? What's it like? Have you done any upgrades recently? If not, why not? There could be a lot of funding issues associated with why they haven't done stuff. Maybe they think that was maybe they didn't understand recommendations made by somebody else. A whole slew of things. That funding piece I'm going to come back to. We're going to talk about that. That's something in your project for West you're going to want to make sure you look into as well. What is their project, West, exactly? What are they supposed to do?
They're supposed to adopt a building,
Yeah.
do an energy analysis on it, see what recommendations they, do a process for figuring out cost benefit, and then itemize the energy efficiency recommendations by cost benefit, and write a report. So present the report to the building owner and to the class.
So we'll go over. There's a piece to that. There's a website that's incredibly helpful. So baselining, the target in the middle, this is the normal process that typically follows an energy audit. Baselining is that portfolio manager that I talked about earlier that you guys are going to use. Surveillance is the walkthrough when you start asking questions. Assessment is now you've taken information, and I'll go into this a little bit in detail. You found things in the building that you think might potentially be able to be upgraded or saving operating costs. And the response is on the end user to actually do and make the change. So that's a nice little, in my mind, a nice little diagram to kind of show you the whole greater picture. I'm skipping through these. Oh yeah, I'm talking about the checklists. Data collection when you're on the site. This is a compressed air, HVAC lighting, that's all we're really going to focus on here. Compressed air would be for an industrial type process. Other systems could be water, wastewater, renewables, building envelope, that kind of stuff. I'm going to skip through these. There is a huge amount of free resources available for you to look up to help you. There's energy management guidelines for commercial buildings, industrial buildings, retail. ASHRAE has a new guideline out for commercial buildings. It's new since I wrote this. There's a thing called Partners in Practice. Purchasing and procurement. Anybody know what I mean there? You guys go over that?
Yeah.
So when you get the bills, have you guys seen? Actually, let me ask you: has anybody looked at the bills yet and figured out how much they're paying for electricity or oil or natural gas? No. You do have a copy of that. So, why don't you guys come up here? Delivery service, 450. Electric supply, 778. So your bill is broken into two pieces. This is for everybody, residential, commercial, and you're going to see a delivery service fee. That's the cost to get the power to your building. So multiple sticks and wires, they call it. The supply, the power supply, electricity supply, this you can buy from these means, you can buy it from whomever sells the meter. What you want to look at when you're doing any kind of analysis for your recommendations, you want to look at the total bill divided by the efficiency you have on 9,070. So anybody want to guess what their cost is?
What is it?
Well, what it's the cost is this, and how much is their cost per kWh? Do you guys have a feel for what that might be? 12.7 cents.
That's total cost for everything?
Yep. That's not that bad.
That's low.
It's about average. You know? So that's the.
This is how much they paid.
Yep.
And that's how much they used.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Then take that divided by that, gives you your cost per kilowatt hour. These are kilowatt hours.
I had a question. When I went to school, they said that this was what they gave me for information on energy usage. I didn't get any kind of bills. I asked them if I could get bills. They said it might be more difficult for me to print me up copies of. Is that going to be enough information to get what I need, or
you can enter this information right in the portfolio. However, you do not know how much they pay.
Yeah.
So you need to know that.
Yeah.
So you can either ask them how much they pay, or you can go and look on the utility website and try and figure out what rate they're in. But these are all in kWh, monthly kWh. So
these ones? That's for
oil. It's gallons, I'm sure. So you should be fine.
That's very interesting.
You might have some trouble in portfolio management for months that have nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to work. It may not let you enter in nothing. Maybe it will.
June, July, September makes sense.
Sure.
15's not there, so that doesn't matter.
I think that's
We're
actually
in
just
14.
cost to fill the tanks when they did.
That's cost or gallons?
Why is December 14th already filled out?
Gallons.
Oh, okay.
That's messed up.
What's that?
December 14th.
They may have not needed as much oil.
No, like the year, it's the 14th and it's already in December. We're not in December yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You sure that's not December 14th, whatever
No,
No,
it's
it's
2014.
yeah, 2014th of December.
I would say that it was
An I would say.
no, I would say that was 13.
Unless it just, I don't know. That's weird.
Oh, we haven't had November for 2014. Yeah, or October or September or August.
We've had January though. Maybe they just had it entered in wrong.
You're gonna have to ask about that.
'Cause that is weird.
But at least you have something to work on.
Yeah, I just recently had it.
Maybe that's just. Oh yeah, it's the school year. That's right. It's a school, so they do it July to June.
Now back to this piece for people that have electricity and or natural gas. They're going to have a delivery cost and they're going to have a supply cost. So the delivery cost has nothing to do with that. It is what it is. The supply cost, that is something that, in theory, they could go out and buy competitively. So that means that they could potentially save money. They may not. That depends on the rates and how things work right now.
I mean, my building's got natural gas.
So in natural gas, you can do the same thing. As you can go out and buy your natural gas on the open market.
You could just shop around every time.
Yeah. However, number one, you don't want to be shopping around every month because it's too time consuming.
Release the liability.
Number two, you need to be a big enough customer to be attractive enough for a competitive supplier to want to bring you natural gas.
Yep.
Number one. Electricity is a little bit less important on how big a customer you are.
Because everyone needs electricity.
Well, there's a more defined, it's a more mature market, and it's a little easier because it's a year-round commodity, not a seasonal commodity. So, this is my opinion. Electricity has residential offerings for the supply. So that means even small commercial, you'll be able to find some product out there, or somebody that would maybe want to do it. But you got to look at it and make sure that it's a good deal. So what you're going to see when you go on the website is you're going to see the websites with electric. You're going to see they're going to say 7.8 cents. Let's see what they're paying now. When we take the 778 and divided by 760, and they're paying 7.9 cents. Is that what I said? 7.9 cents. I didn't know that. I swear. That's about the going rate right now.
The delivery fees what gets done.
No. You tell me.
Well, it was
Which one's higher?
Well, I mean, you just did 7. It was just 7 cents, and then it's like with the delivery cost in there, it's 12 cents.
So it's 7.9, so it's 8 cents.
Yeah,
right?
and with delivery
that's
cost,
only another 4 for delivery.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about delivery.
Yeah, you pay more for the delivery.
No, you don't. You're only paying 4 cents.
I mean, that's pretty much half of what
You're paying 4 cents
Yeah,
for delivery.
yeah. And so I mean,
The
if you
energy-
didn't have delivery, it would cost so much.
You wouldn't have the power in your house to play to build it.
Obviously, but delivery is what's killing it.
No, it's not the delivery. You're missing the point. It's the supply that is the variable. That when fuel costs go up, this goes up. This stays the same, pretty much, unless you have a huge ice storm or something, or whatever it is. Like, some kind of cost impact on the utility. So, and it's been 4 cents for pretty close to 10 years, which is actually not good for the utility because it means their revenue hasn't gone up for that one line item. It's been roughly the same, unless electricity sales go up. It's the supply side where you have opportunity for savings. That's what this procurement procurement, purchasing and procurement. That's where it all comes into. So that's the thing you can shop for. That's where you can potentially get maybe
Savings.
less than 7%, whatever it is. I don't know. But let's say you save 10%. You got to go out down that side of West, a little more, 0.75%, and you'll be saving 10%, which for a big company or a big building, that's a lot. Yeah. All right, so I wanted to talk about procurement. I'm glad you have that. Hey, does that make sense? Are we good?
Yeah.
This building employee efficiency, employee management efficiency.
How long has the school been open?
School year ending,
Unless this is projected. Unless this is a projected.
No.
I think it means the year ending in 2014.
That's what I was thinking too, but no, it's not. It's
It's their financial year. It's their fiscal year. Their fiscal year probably ends in June
because that's
2014.
Because that's what schools do. Schools do July to
Is it
June.
Does it say June? Yeah, June. So that is technically 2013.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because it ends in June 2014.
Yeah.
They go backwards.
I knew the school year was that. I should probably know that.
Not all of them do that, but
The state is on the same.
yeah, they are.
Yeah. That would make sense. That's because they don't even agree.
Would make too much sense if they had everything January to December. Gotta have
One other thing you may want to do when you're looking at energy use, especially for a school, you may want to look at it from July to June instead of January to December, because you're gonna get the school year split across two academic years. You're going to have a graph for the heating that's going to be a U at the bottom, so it's not really going to be as easy to visually represent the heating load, which is the biggest energy user for a school typically. So you want to, you can do what you want, but you want to get a nice. This is from December to December, so it's got a nice typical bell curve, is what you can expect. Anyways, just my 2 cents. When you're doing your utility bill analysis, which is one of the steps in your energy audit, it's probably the second step after determining your benchmark, where you're at. When you do utility bill analysis, and let's say, okay, has the usage for heating gone up over the last year, over the year before, or not? And so you graph each year over each other. 3 years is typically what we do. You've got how many years?
6 or 7.
No, 15, 16 years. 14, 13 years. So I recommend just doing 3. Well,
It's got that for the heating, but for some reason the electricity.
That's
starts.
yeah. So you've got 6, 7 years.
That's more than enough, though.
Oh yeah, 3 is good. That's all we typically do, unless there's a reason to do more, some kind of dispute over savings or something. Anyways, I'm going to skip through the tools. Actually, the one thing you might find interesting is the target finder. Energy Star has something called a target finder. So you have a building that you have before you manage your benchmark, and you know that let's say the school district that you're helping or the town, you know that they want to reduce their energy costs by 10%. If you run the target finder, it will give you areas to focus on to get to 10%. So before going out to the site, you can even have a list of predetermined things to look at to confirm whether it makes sense or not. And when you get there, you may find out one of the things that was suggested happens to be brand new. That's off the list now. Or one of the things that was suggested is extremely old. That jumps to the top of the list. Probably something you want to recommend and improve. this is the typical outline for the audit. So you want to write down the goals, basically what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it. Documenting the existing conditions is essentially just walking around confirming what is there at that point in time. So that way, 3 years later, when somebody comes along and says, oh, well, we had an energy audit done. Well, let's figure out, is this any good? If they read the existing conditions and they're still the same, then the audit's still valid. If they're not, then it's now it needs to be updated. So that's why it's important to document those. We often document the existing conditions and then refer back to them for recommendations. So it's a good way to follow that. We also take pictures of existing conditions and reference stuff. So, recommendations, we're going to talk about that a little more in detail, I think, on the weekend. I don't know if I have slides on it. Incentives. I definitely want to go over that. Financing options is another part of that incentive piece. Post-implementation follow-up, that's when you want to just check back in with the people that you help and say, hey, you know, any questions, how things going, any improvements. It's just it's a good business practice. So this breaks down into those goals and objectives, who, what, where, when, why. Existing conditions, you want to talk about the envelope, you want to talk about insulation, what type of roof, what type of walls, you want to talk about what type of HVAC, heating, cooling, is it forced by air, is it electronic heating, the lighting, you want to comment on the lighting level too. What do you think the lighting level is in this room? It's sufficient, clearly. But you've got a little natural light coming in, don't have to put lights on, we don't really need it, we're not doing any detailed, crazy. But if you go into an office environment, often it could be way over. You just think we need more light. Just somebody put a bunch of lights up. They happen to be, in this case, there's a line. The wiring goes this way. There you go. Here you go. Anybody want to take a guess what the light level is on this desk? You know what an adequate light level would be? I'll tell you first. Work surface under normal conditions, 50-foot panels, 35 feet. My guess is it's going to be close to that, but it's also black, so the light reflectance isn't quite as strong, so I guess it's going to be the lower end.
We have multi-levels of lighting in here.
Yeah.
This is low.
It's not, so your perception is, this takes the guessing out of it. Did you guys do it? Is it light in separate class?
We do a separate class. We do it one class in this course on lighting.
Have you done it already?
No.
So you'll learn more about that. Anyways, this is the light tree. And it tells you the room is going off. I don't know. It's a factor of 10. That's it. Why is it okay?
I'll tell you why it is. I know the answer to that. Because it was the light of a candle in 1 foot.
So it brings you to this website. You click on the state that you're interested in, New Hampshire in this case, and you come down here, and it has all kinds of great stuff. For example, everybody's buildings in SNH's territory, I assume. Are you guys doing it together, or is it 4 buildings? 4. So here's this Newtonian, Belmont, Goffstown, Belmont. So they're all PSNH. So we'll go down to PSNH, and my guess is they're all going to be in the small business retrofit. They're all existing buildings. Not?
Mine's probably not.
You're right. Yours is probably large. For simplicity, we're going to click on the small one.
Yeah, that's fine.
One of the things, if you have the time today, that you might talk about, is since it's so big, is there anything specific that he should be doing differently and focusing on? I'm a little worried, to be honest, about the size of it.
Well, yeah. It's nursing home. I would focus on the laundry. If they have it. I think they do.
They do.
And that is a big energy.
I was thinking the lights too because I was talking to the receptionist.
Yeah.
Her daughter is the head nurse.
All right. So hold on before you go any further. This is exactly the Q&A when I talked about earlier. And find out all this stuff. Go ahead.
And she was telling me that her daughter was telling her about how much money they spend on lights. It's ridiculous. They leave every single light of the building. It's a nursing home.
So controls.
Yeah. They'll leave the bathroom lights on. All the lights are on excessively. Like I looked out one hallway and I was like, you can tell me get rid of the light off. It's fine.
Yeah. Especially at night. And you take the light meter. And you go down and you look up what the requirement is. And you take the light meter and you go down and see how overlit it is, and see if it's possible to switch half of them off at one time or not. Maybe they all either are all on or all off or half on. This is high-level switching here, so you don't need every row on. You don't need all the lights on. So I would definitely focus on lighting control and the laundry, and I think that would make it more manageable. Do they have a large heat plant or boiler room?
I haven't looked. They said they just switched over the past few years.
Yeah, so, okay. My guess is they have a big central boiler.
I would think so.
When they put the addition on this building, did they add a new boiler to the boiler room they have, or did they make their own boiler?
I don't know the answer.
Why don't we go look? A little bit. Alright. So back to the incentive piece. Here, this website pretty much tells you everything you need to know. You can go into more detail from here, and you can go crazy because it has a link to it. But essentially, what they're saying is general up to 50% of the cost will be rebated back, so 50% of the improvement. However, the core utilities have to meet strict benefit cost ratio improvements. So in other words, they're not going to rebate on something that has a ridiculously low payback because it's not cost effective. They will rebate you on things that have good payback or medium payback. They will not pay you to give you a rebate on anything that's a super fantastic rebate because they think it's paying for itself in such a short time. You should just do it anyway. So you don't need additional incentives. These incentives were designed to help push projects that probably wouldn't happen on their own merit. So, in this particular case, it's 50% of the installed cost, 35% of project cost. Or about required for 1 year payback. I don't know what that's for custom. So, I think this is for this is for lighting controls, sensors, which is your nursing home, programmable thermostats, energy management systems, building controls, motors, custom others. It looks like LED is probably custom, so you may only get 35% of the installed cost back. But you can, from here, you can click on their website, and it will tell you even more detail how to do it, maybe some of the vendors that help you. It's everything you need to know about incentives, but make sure when you make recommendations, then you go by recommendation to this tool, make sure you figure out exactly what the incentive is, potentially, for each recommendation. Improvement.
I think he said something in passing there that's really important. That word potentially, you don't want to promise anybody anything. This is, am I right? This is your this is your read of how you think it is, and they should get their accountant, their lawyer, their account rep for the utilities involved.
Yeah,
And what you're doing, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
being a resource for them, but not the final arbiter on what it is. And you want to make that very clear so it doesn't come back the first time that the utilities change the rebate and they haven't updated it here or something. You don't look like an idiot.
the program, it is, Wes is 100% right, it's critical, not fraud statement, that you personally don't have control over. If you don't have control over this rebate money, you don't have control over the state's incentive or rebates for renewables, you don't have control over the federal government's tax incentives, so you want to recommend these potentially available. And in particular, with the utilities, they actually recently have been running out of money before the end of the program. So if you're not in pre-approval mode before they're committed, all their money is committed, you may not get an incentive at all. So you may want to wait 6 months or a month until the new program year starts. As long as you get your pre-approval form in, and then get pre-approved, and then installed within whatever timeline you set you with.
Okay, just as a review, there's a database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency, DSIRE. This will help you track down energy projects. Here is the website, and if you click on it, you will go here. If you go here, find your way to New Hampshire, click on New Hampshire, and find your way to energy efficiency incentives. And by looking at each one of these, you can find out a lot about who runs them, what they cover. This is a very good resource, and you should use it for virtually every project. Now back to your regularly scheduled class.
Are you guys familiar with what a PPA is, or a power purchase agreement, or an ESCO, or an energy purchase contract? Okay, these are going to be good to know. Everybody needs to know this stuff. A power purchase agreement is when the school here decides that they would like to purchase solar power, but they can't afford or don't want to buy the equipment or install the equipment or maintain the equipment. They lease their roof space or land to a company that comes in, puts in the equipment, owns the equipment, maintains the equipment at essentially no cost for the use of the space, the land or roof, or maybe there's a small monetary compensation. But the school also agrees to pay a certain rate, like that 7.5 cents, or maybe something higher, to get renewable energy from that system. So they agree to buy all the power off that system in return for that. The school's return is they're getting renewable energy. The company that supplies the equipment and the maintenance and the operation of the system, they're getting money from the school, from the KWH that comes out of it. They're getting tax incentives for putting the system up and having it on the grid. They're getting greenhouse gas emission reduction incentives, potentially incentives. RECs, renewable energy certificates, greenhouse gas emission reduction. Oh, yeah, accelerated depreciation and the tax credits. If they're a for-profit company, that's a good thing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Is this in practice? What I had heard is theory. In practice, though, do they generally sell the electricity for a higher rate than you would get otherwise, or a lower?
It depends on how the package is. It's probably comparable right now.
But
I think it's actually a little bit higher, but I don't know.
But the other part to that is it's a long-term agreement, so 15, 20, 25 years. So one of the things he hasn't mentioned yet is if you're a company, and one of the things that, well, you like the idea of knowing what you're going to pay for electricity in the future, you know, instead of that being a variable depending on politics and weather and everything, you've got a known quantity.
Well, let's talk about that. So, solar PV, photovoltaic solar is where this news was on. The price of solar PV panels has come down dramatically over the past 10 years. It's come down from $14,000 a kW to $4,000, maybe less, maybe as low as $3,000. On top of that, the price of electricity actually, originally in 2001, I would say it was about 5 cents. So instead of 7.5 cents a year, 7.9 cents a year, it was 5 cents. It ramped up between 05 and 08 to 10 cents. It stayed at 10 cents for a little bit after the crash, but then kWh sales went down. So there's excess supply. Then the Marcellus Shale was discovered, and the price of natural gas plummeted. So now you've got almost a perfect storm. Decrease in kWh sales, decrease in fuel costs for power suppliers. Anybody that could switch to natural gas has. The price of natural gas came back down 5 cents, roughly. Last winter it started. This winter has accelerated the incline of natural gas prices in New England. So the price of electricity is now 7.9 cents, on its way back up to 10 for the power piece. So keep that in mind. With a solar PV system, with a power purchase agreement, you're going to pay 12 cents. Done. You know, it doesn't matter what happens, the sun's going to shine. You're going to get so much kWh out of it. And they don't guarantee it. This company will guarantee it. Yeah, you'll get this contract. Yeah, you sign a contract that says they'll give you this much kWh. You know, based on the system that decides, blah, blah, blah. So that's a power purchase agreement. Just good to know. If somebody asks, you know, you can say, yeah, I know what it is. You know, it's usually for renewable systems, but it is possible to do for like a system.
So they put the solar panels on their property. That would cut off the delivery fee. No.
Yes.
It would. So that's where it's cheap.
I'm actually not 100% sure, but yes.
Question? Here.
If you have solar panels on your roof, you are knocking down your delivery fee and your supply fee because you're no longer pulling electricity from the grid. You're pulling it from your system.
So it would be on your property, so it's not pulling from that far.
Correct. Now, there's a net metering rules apply to this, and I believe they use the fully blended rates for net metering. Not 100% sure, but fairly.
This is maximum.
So you'd want to be looking at the 13 cents, the 12.7 cents, whatever the total was. You know, and that would be, if you could buy it now for less than that, and you'd be making money, save money from day one.
Say that the maintenance is included in some.
It's covered in there. Unless you don't want it to be. Let's say you don't want it to be, then you can negotiate with them potentially and say, I'll take care of the maintenance. I want a lower rate. You know, but now you got to take care of maintenance, which means, you know, this thing's covered up with dirt. You got to wash it, you know, once a year.
You end up just scrapping it so you're liable because you're looking for your maintenance.
Yeah. However, with solar PV, there's not a ton of stuff. There's not a lot of moving parts, so it's relatively low risk. I mean, and you want to take the snow off so you can get the maximum efficiency out of it. Just so you know, though, it's still possible to do get electricity through the panel with snow off. Because light can still get through. It's not as intense. An ESCO is an energy service company. An energy service company provides energy performance plans.
Okay, at this point in the proceedings, the battery died on the video recorder, so let's review what Keith was talking about, which was third-party financing. He was mentioning three options. The first is a power purchase agreement, sometimes called a PPA. In this case, an owner leases a roof space or land for renewables, such as photovoltaic, solar electricity. The owner is guaranteed a stable rate over a long period of time. The owner usually has the buyout opportunity at the end of the contract, and this agreement, this power purchase agreement, can be transferred if the building is sold. The third party installs and maintains the equipment and guarantees a stable rate over a long period of time. It's usually a competitive rate over 15 or 20 years typically, and a competitive rate today is likely to be a very, very competitive rate 15 or 20 years from now. In return for that, the third party gets the tax credits, incentives, renewable energy credits, depreciation, all the incentives basically that are available, and the third party gets any profit from kilowatt hours sales from that good rate, but he's going directly to the owner. The second mechanism of third-party financing, often used for energy efficiency projects, are ESCOs, energy services companies. An energy services company do energy audits, install energy upgrades, and guarantees savings. In return, the owner pays for the energy work, hopefully out of the savings. So in a very simplistic way, if I can save you $100 and you can pay me either $80 or $100, say over a month, then you're not going to notice a difference until the end of the term, when you end up saving and you no longer have the payments. And finally, the idea is, the third idea is an energy loan from a bank. And some banks offer low interest loans for energy work. And the outcome of this, hopefully, is that the energy work will save more than the monthly cost of the loan, so the entity is in positive cash flow from day one. But even if they're not, they often soon are in positive cash flow, and that is often what can sell the deal. The final thing Keith talked about was your audit report, and here's an outline of what he said. Number one, you want to state clearly what the goals and objectives of your audit report are, of the project, I should say. You want to state the goals and objectives of the project. You want to discuss the existing conditions, and he suggested using a lot of photographs to document what those conditions are. You want to make recommendations, and you want to make those energy conservation measures. You want to order them based on their cost benefit. You might want to consider combining several of them. You want to discuss possible incentives and financing options, and you should also discuss post-implementation follow-up, like how do you measure the before and after. This basically concluded Keith's classroom presentation. After that, we took a tour of the building and came back, and among other things, Keith discussed the analysis of cutting the pump hours that's used for the circulating hot water in the CAT building, and the discussion that follows is part of the analysis of that.
Times 8760 right now equals 5 amps.
How many kW?
I have to do math. Is 1040. No, 1060. What's what? 1060.
And you do time, so we can put a time vector into it now.
87, yeah, mark that. It's 8760. 8760 is the time factor. 8,760 hours a year. Because it runs all the time, 24/7. I'm assuming.
Okay.
So it costs $850 a year to run that pump.
Alright, so if you set it up for half the time.
$425. If I put a little time clock in, that probably costs $100. No, and have no impact on anybody in the building. Nobody's here. And it will help. That's just the pump energy. And we haven't even talked about the electrical energy. I don't know. I mean the heat loss. I don't know how we're going to figure that out. I'll tell you how we're going to figure it out. Let's see. One thing we know is that I'm not sure. I think there's a software. Is this? Can I use this?
Sure, Motor Master?
No. 3E Plus. I think it's a web tool. Maybe I have it on here. Maybe I don't need to go to the web. Hold on. Heat loss calculator for pipe insulation. For pipe. What do we got? What do we got?
There must be an app for it, huh?
I'm sure there is.
Do you know what my kid came home with? You guys have probably all got this on your app. There's a thing that gives you the percent likelihood that school's going to be canceled tomorrow. Just that
No.
app on her iPhone. Yeah. For, takes the weather and tells you,
All right.
that's awesome. Dad, it's a 94% chance I'm not going to have school tomorrow. Can I sleep over Avery's?
So this is the software. It's called 3E Plus. It's free.
Tell me how to get it.
I have no idea how to get it.
3E Plus.
3E Plus.
Google.
You're gonna have to download it and stuff.
Well, I will, but
Every time there's a snowstorm, you see it, you tie somebody to that.
3 is it THREE or number?
Nope. Number 3, letter E, space, word plus. PLUS. That's it. Search. There it is. Insulation thickness computer program.
I'm just going to say Does 3E make insulation?
No. So that it loses 10 BTUs per hour.
Numbia, that's where I'm from. Numbia.
So how many feet long is this building? Say 300?
Okay.
So we got a loop, so it's 300, 10, 300, 10, 620, 620 feet. We have 10 BTUs per hour. Did I get that right? Pretty sure. Times
I've already signed up here. I don't remember.
what?
It says I'm already signed up here.
Oh, so you don't remember it. Well, I got it up. We can get the number.
Okay.
Now we just calculate it out. So hours is 870. Can somebody multiply 620 times 10 times 8760?
620 times 10 is
6,020, 200, yeah, times 8760.
6 times 8 is 48, so we're about 54,000. Or around there.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. So we're not losing too much on our heat loss, because that's only about half a gallon of oil a year. So it's all about the pump engine. Costs $850 a year to operate that pump. I'm going to put a timer in to operate it half the time. It's going to save $425 a year. It's going to cost you.
Multiply all that together ends up being, I think that's it's 54,312,000.
That's better. 620.
You said 3 zeros at the end, right?
860. Okay, now all we do is divide that by 138,500. It gives us 400 gallons. So now we're talking. So this is equal to 392 gallons of oil at 100% efficiency. We know we have an 80% efficient system, so we actually have to multiply that times 1.2. 407 gallons times, what do you want, how much are we paying for a gallon of oil?
I paid $3.35 for gas today. It was expensive,
All
but
right. Let's
I
say
could
it's-
tell you. Wait a second. I can tell you
let's
what.
say it's $3. Let's just say it's
Okay.
$3.
Yeah.
That's $1,400 a year. Plus the 850. 2261. Cut that in half. $852 a year savings.
Wait, 22.61 and a half. It's 11.30
Oh yeah. Thank you.
and
don't know what I
50
did
cents.
Thank you.
Well, you're into underestimating, so we save more than expected,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's good. So that's simple change.
And what do you anticipate the cost of a pump and installing it?
You don't need a new
Timer.
pump. You know, all you
I'm sorry, a new timer.
$100,
Okay.
and $100 to wire it. $200.
Who wants to go talk to Dr. Kolecki?
Now,
President, you can go up there.
the only thing is I don't know for sure that it's not already controlled.
All right.
So you have to find that out. My guess is it's not, but I don't know. It could be a control system somewhere that says shut your pump off at night. Could be. Or
Who wants to show up at 3
or-
o'clock in the water and turn on, in the morning and turn on the hot water? Any volunteers?
I mean, and that's just quick calculations. You want to go through and double check the math because I could have messed something up.
But you see,
easily.
you see the concept, the process that he did here is what you want to do for each energy efficiency measure that you think you might want to consider.
Yep, you need to figure out what in this case the electrical usage is, and the savings potential was basically reducing the hours in half, so it would have cut that in half. On the BTU side, similar thing, except we got to add in the efficiency of the system, the heating system, into your usage. Because this is the heat loss the way it is, add in the efficiency of the system, that's your total usage times your cost, gives you your operating costs, cut it in half for your in theory, you can save. The other thing you could do is instead of putting a timer on the pump, if you put a timer on the pump, it allows you to still get hot water at any faucet outside of those hours when the timer's on. If you put in order to do that, you have to put a bypass in to allow it to go past the motor when the motor was shut off. The valve would open when the motor shuts off. The bypass would open. And it just means it would take longer to get hot water at the far ends of the building. You could also just shut the water heater off at night. You'd have to weigh the benefits of those. Public building like this, you don't know the hours always, so you're probably better off to be more conservative and go with adding a bypass, controlling the pump, as opposed to shutting the hot water heater off. But if you have a lake house, you shut your hot water heater off when you leave for the winter or the summer, or say you've gone for a month, you're going to save $100 roughly. That's a little over exaggerated, but